Well, well, would you look at where we are? Back to the cliff in Sons of the Forest that made old Rippy D halfway relevant on YouTube until M. Night patched it. I've sat here for months, reinventing the wheel, endless hours, failure after failure, but ladies and gentlemen, today is different. Today we prevail. Today we conquer. Now this method is much better than the old one, and I'll go over why later, but the biggest advantage to this is it cannot be patched. For them to patch this, it'd either take way too much work for nothing, or they'd have to remove one of the few popular building mechanics left in this game at this point, and that's building on ice. Which leads to the first step of this process. You'll notice in my game right now it's not winter, and we need this lake, which is Lake F, to be frozen. So first we need to change the season to winter. This command doesn't work immediately, and I don't have the patience to wait for it. The game is instanced into zones, like saving and exiting, and other ways. The quickest way to make this season change happen is to teleport to a random zone like I'm gonna do, and then in this case, teleport back to Lake F. And now that the lake is frozen, we can start having some fun. Now some people are overwhelmed by Unity, don't worry, we only need to use this for a few seconds. I'm going to pull up the inspector, which, yes, inspects objects, and then change the mouse inspect to world. If I start moving around, we can start seeing objects like Lake F surface, Lake F zone, terrains, all this other stuff, but the one we're looking for is Lake F frozen. This one right here. Now simply left click and it'll open a menu. By the way, if you're doing this, you don't have to use World Inspector, just type Lake F Frozen like it's spelt right here. Now we need to do one more thing with this and then we're done with Unity. Now we're going to move only, and let me emphasize on only, the Z position slider to the right. And in turn, that will move the lake to the right and keep everything else perfectly lined up with the original lake. This is very important, you'll see why later, because you can quote-unquote build off the cliff. It'll keep it perfectly lined up if you want to connect it to a structure later on the lake. Or, if you already have one built, this works to add on to it very easily. That's one thing that stands out from this method compared to the old one. How simple it is to connect anything together or add on later. With the lake moved out like this, we can run around on it, but that's not what we're here to do. We're here to build. Now you can start wherever you want. I'm going to start where the lake initially was and build out. Now, if you don't have an existing build, you're going to want to start off as straight as possible. Oops, didn't mean to do that. And this is where the waterfall usually starts. And to really show this off, I'm going to build two big wacky structures, one out of logs and the other out of stone. Both of them work, which again is unique to this method. You'll notice throughout this that I'm not connecting everything. I'm kind of leaving like stragglers, and that's what's so interesting about this. That just like the old method, nothing is constrained. The game thinks that we're building on solid ground, so you don't need struts, none of that crap, and nothing has to even make sense. You can do whatever the hell you want. I know, this is a true work of art, I know. It was just for a demonstration. To show you what I mean, that nothing has to be connected at all, or make any kind of sense with this, let's make a rip out in the middle of nowhere and see what happens when we remove the ice. Again, this is unique to this method. You could not do this with the old one. Okay. So let's get rid of the frozen lake underneath all this garbage I built. To do that, we don't need to mess around with Unity or anything crazy. All we have to do is simply save the game, quit out, log back into the save that we did this in. I don't know why that was so hard to say. The lake will automatically reset itself back to the original state. Now, I know a loading screen isn't the most exciting thing to watch, but I'm going to leave this part in on purpose because of the "he edited this in, it's fake" comments I've gotten recently, which are strange. I've never clickbaited a single video. But did I on this one? So now that we're logged back in, let's see if it got clickbaited. Should I turn around? What about now? Now? Oh, come on, you guys know I'd never clickbait you. And there you have it. Building off a cliff just like the good old days. Everything you build on the ice will magically float, and there's still a few more things I want to show you on this. With everything staying as it was placed, including stuff like this, it gives you the opportunity to make really unique builds or visuals. This could be really cool for a hang glider obstacle course, for example. Wow, that was actually a pretty good idea. I might have to make one. Obviously, the pancake trick, whatever you want to call it, the old way, doesn't work anymore. So if you try to add on to it, you'll get the lovely red arrows, just like you do in everything else in this game. Now with this method, there is an easy fix to this to be able to add on to it. Actually, add on to it infinitely. We're going to drag the lake back out just like before, and again only using the Z on the position axis. And that's why I said it was so important not to touch anything else before, so everything lines up now. And don't worry about dragging it perfectly to where you extended it before. You get the red arrows, but I have an easy fix for that as well. Building on the original lake always works. There's never a problem there. If you get this crap, which you probably will, all you have to do is stand a column straight up, like so, on one point, and it will pretty much fix every single arrow on the entire build. I'm going to go around and check on the arrows. With logs, standing one column up on a trouble area usually fixes the entire structure. Rocks are a little more wonky, but just as easily fixed. I also want to point out, this is probably obvious, but you can build up as well, like you normally would. Like I said, the rocks are a little more wonky, but not too bad. Most of the time, they let you build off of them. And if it doesn't, just stand another column up where the red arrow is, and it'll fix it. I've never had it not fix the problem. Jesus, that was like a, double negative? And after that, the column can obviously go. I'm gonna try to get a very rare bug to happen. I doubt it's going to. It happens like 1 out of 1,000 times. If I keep building off of this, once in a blue moon, you'll get a red arrow. Nah, doesn't look like it's gonna do it for me. This as well can be fixed by standing a log up. Rocks work too if you want to absolutely waste your time. I'll check the rest of these and everything looks pretty good. Oh, there's one that needs to be fixed. I'll try one more time for the bug. And no, of course it won't do it for a video. It seems to only do it when connecting to what once was a red arrow, meaning after you stood the log up to fix it. Now this is actually something that's very similar to the previous method. If you want a base that's completely floating in a safe spot that cannibals cannot get to, if I remove all the logs and stones connecting the structure to the land, it will not fall. And again, for my buddies in the comments, I'll remove the supports and platform behind it as well, just so I can convince you that this works. I'm gonna make more videos using this method to build some really crazy stuff. I've already come up with a few ideas that are pretty insane, but also require a little more in depth than just moving one slider. If you want me to make more videos focusing on tutorials of Unity, like installing it, using it, etc., let me know. It's a little overwhelming at first, but the more you mess around with it, the easier it gets. It's not so bad. It technically is a mod, but it's more using the actual game engine that the game was built on to manipulate things. I know the intro was a little dramatic, but it's also sad but true. It literally took me months and too many hours to crack the code on this. If you enjoyed the video, as always, like, comment, and subscribe, and until the next one, play ya!